telescope. This telescope mirror is 3D. The primary mirror is made up of many mirrors put together. Such a primary mirror is made up of beryllium and plated with gold to give us 99% reflection.
Oh my God.
Now let's begin our night sky observation. It's 8 p.m. in the evening. We already know the planet Mars is visible in the sky, along with the beautiful moon. Now let's get familiar with stars. In the western sky, you see the constellation of Cancer. Cancer is a zodiacal constellation. In the middle of this constellation, you see a fuzzy object. If you look at it through a telescope, it appears like a honeycomb. Therefore, it is called a beehive star cluster. In India, it is also known as Pushya Nakshatra.
Oh my God.
After Cancer, let's look at another zodiacal constellation, Leo. It appears in the shape of a lion. In Leo's paw, you find its brightest star, Regulus.
Mega.
Regulus is special because it sits on the belt of the ecliptic. Therefore, you'll find it in conjunction with the moon and other planets many times. In the southern sky, a very big constellation is visible, Centaurus. It was imagined in the shape of a half horse, half man. In Centaurus, you will find a beautiful globular star cluster, Omega Centauri. There are at least 10 million stars here. Now let's advance the time and look at the midnight sky. In the northern sky, the Big Dipper is visible again. The sixth star of Big Dipper is a binary star. There are two stars here, Vashishta and Arundhati, also known as Alpha Mizar. Besides the seventh star of the Big Dipper, you will be able to locate the Whirlpool Galaxy. It is also known as M51 Galaxy. This galaxy is 3 crore light years away from us. If you join the last two stars of the Big Dipper and draw a straight line, you will be able to locate a red bright star, Arcturus. Towards the south of Arcturus, a bluish-white star, Spica. In the southern sky, the constellation of Scorpius is visible. Scorpius is also a zodiacal constellation. In Scorpius, you'll find its brightest star, Antares. Antares is a red supergiant star. Towards the east of Scorpius, you find another zodiacal constellation, Sagittarius. This is how it was imagined. If you want to locate the Sagittarius constellation in the night sky, you have to imagine a teapot. In between the constellations of Scorpius and Sagittarius lies our Milky Way's black hole. In the northeastern sky, we find three bright stars, Vega, Deneb, and Altair. If you join them, they form a triangle in the sky. This is known as the summer triangle. It marks the beginning of summer season. Vega is the brightest star of the constellation of Lyra. Lyra was imagined in the shape of a harp. In this constellation, you will find Ring Nebula. Ring Nebula is a planetary nebula. Now let's advance the time and look at the 5 a.m. sky. Just before sunrise, you will be able to see planets Venus and Saturn. Now in a short while, we'll have sunrise and the beginning of a new day. Good morning, everyone. With this, I conclude Sky tonight's session. The Sky was stimulated for you by my senior colleague Srimati Sneha Kedkarji, and I am Bhagyashri. Thank you.
Wow. Movie 10.
The sight of the stars makes me dream, said the painter Vincent van Gogh. By day we can forget that we live in a vast and mysterious universe. But at night, gazing at the starry sky fills us with wonder and questions. What is the universe? How big is it? Will we humans ever travel to deep space? Are there alien beings out there looking at the stars just as we do? Is someone in distant space looking back at us right now? The question has intrigued people through the ages. Is life a miracle unique to the earth? Or is there life everywhere in the universe? The answer to this question of cosmic life lies in our understanding of the origin of the universe, the formation of the solar system, and the evolution of life on Earth. To understand the nature of the universe, let's go for a random walk in the sky. The Orion constellation is a good place to start because it reveals the challenges to life in a violent universe. Some stars, like Rigel, are gigantic infernos compared to the Sun. Rigel is 50,000 times brighter. The red giant Betelgeuse is about 250 times larger than the Sun. It's a dying star that has massively expanded before fading. One day, our life-giving sun will also become a red giant and expand till it reaches Earth's orbit and even beyond, destroying all life on Earth. Don't worry, this won't happen for billions of years. The death of a star can be spectacular. But there are also stars being born in various spectacles. A telescope view of Orion's belt reveals a dazzling cloud of gas and dust called the Orion Nebula, a birthplace of countless stars. It is believed that our Sun, with all its planets, was formed from a similar cloud about 5 billion years ago. As we walk away from Orion, we find stars much younger than our Sun, including Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, nicknamed the Dog Star. In fact, Sirius is a double star with an invisible companion called the Pup. Nearby, we come upon a comparatively young star cluster called the Pleiades in the constellation Taurus. Sirius and the Pleiades were formed about 100 million years ago, when there were dinosaurs on Earth. In contrast, our Sun, 50 times older, could be called a great-great-grandfather. We can walk by another example of colossal violence in the constellation Taurus. The Crab Nebula is a gaseous cloud, the remains of a star that exploded. When this supernova burst 1,000 years ago, people on Earth saw it as a very bright star that looked like a crab. It was visible for many days, even during daytime. If there were living things nearby, the sudden explosion would surely have surprised them. We don't have to worry about such a surprise. Our Sun is too small to become the supernova. Would the sky look the same to other beings in space as it does to us? We know that in some places the view would be very different. In the constellation Sagittarius, for example, there is a globular cluster of more than 500,000 stars, most of them brighter than Sirius, the brightest star we can see. The cluster is one of the most beautiful sights in the sky. For any intelligent beings in the Sagittarius neighborhood, it would be overhead constantly, flooding the night sky with brilliant light and color. Imagine such a view night after night. When we on Earth face the Sagittarius constellation, we are actually looking towards the very center of our own galaxy, the Milky Way. We are just a tiny part of the galaxy. The Milky Way has more than 100 billion stars, but our galaxy is just part of a cluster of 20 other nearby galaxies. And the cluster is a part of a supercluster of thousands of galaxies. And the supercluster is a part of a supercluster, and so on. Some believe there is a filament-like structure to the universe made up of more than 100 billion galaxies in all. It is hard to comprehend the enormity of the universe, whose total mass in tons is estimated to be the number 20 followed by 48 zeros. 20 trillion tons. It is hard to imagine such a prodigious amount of matter, let alone explain how it all came about. It is very difficult to know exactly how the universe began. Some believe that it neither had a beginning nor will it have an end. Others think that our universe was born about 50 billion years ago with a gigantic explosion, the Big Bang. As the Big Bang began, all the matter we see in the universe formed a primordial fireball, trillions of degrees hot, and so incredibly dense that a teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons. When this fireball suddenly expanded, it created space and dispersed matter through it. Over time, as matter cooled, gravity concentrated some of the matter into the first stars and galaxies. There were no witnesses. Life had not yet arrived. The first stars born were composed mostly of hydrogen and helium. But the hot core of these stars cooked the atoms of these light and abundant elements into the dozens of heavier elements we find in the universe today. When these first generation stars died, all of these elements were released into interstellar space, where they formed the star generations that have followed ever since, making the universe richer and richer in heavier elements. Our Sun, probably a third generation star, is made up mainly of hydrogen, but it also contains heavier elements produced by the previous generations of stars. The Earth and other planets in our solar system were formed as byproducts left over from the formation of the Sun. All the matter that makes up our world, from the water we drink to the food we eat, the clothes we wear, and the houses we live in, everything, including the ingredients of our own bodies, once existed in the hot interiors of massive stars and was then thrown into the cold emptiness of interstellar space. We are all made of stardust, as the poets have written. Your right hand may contain elements from one collapsed star, and the left hand matter from a different star. Said the astronomer Carl Sagan, the cosmos is within us. It appears that whenever a star is formed, planets are also likely to form. If this is true, there could be hundreds of billions of planets in our Milky Way galaxy alone. And with over 100 billion galaxies in the whole universe, there could be trillions and trillions of planets. Even among about 50 of the stars nearest to us, astronomers have found some evidence that 3 of those planets, Epsilon Eridani, Tau Ceti, and Bernard star, have planets circling them. The orbiting Hubble Space Telescope captured the first visible light image of a planet around another star and has detected planets in deep space as well. Given all that the matter in the universe has a common origin in the Big Bang, it is reasonable to assume that if life could erupt in one small planet of an average-sized star in an unremarkable galaxy, it could also have arisen elsewhere. Maybe the whole universe is teeming with life. Millions of stars were formed before the Sun, presenting the tantalizing possibility that intelligent beings could have evolved in our own galaxy long before Earth even came into existence. If there's life out there, why has no one communicated with us? The distances that separate us from the stars are so enormous it is virtually impossible at present to establish contact even with the planet of a nearby star. If we send a radio signal today to the nearby star Sirius, the signal would not reach it for about 8.5 years. If on a planet circling Sirius, there were intelligent life able to understand the message, their reply would take another 8.5 years to reach us. 17 years to find out if our message was a waste of time. Communicating with more distant planets could take centuries. That did not deter American astronomer Frank Drake, who sent radio messages to a globular cluster in the Hercules constellation 24,000 light years away. He hoped that at least one of its 500,000 stars might have a planet with advanced beings able to send a return message. Astronomers such as Drake, Carl Sagan have also tried to detect signals coming from any of the 500 nearest stars. Without success so far. If we ever do receive signals from an extraterrestrial civilization, it will be the biggest news story in history. Radio signals are one thing, but what are the chances we could actually venture out into deep space someday and meet extraterrestrial beings? With present-day technology, a spacecraft can travel about 50,000 kilometers per hour. If we set out today for the star nearest to us, Alpha Centauri, it would take about 100,000 years to reach it. What if we travel at the speed of light? It would take only 4.5 years. But it's impossible to go that fast, as Einstein proved. To reach the speed of light in a spacecraft weighing 1,000 tons, we would need as much energy as the entire modern world will consume in the next 5,000 years. Imagine, however, if the future brings us new sources of energy and miraculous technologies for faster travel. Maybe we could someday journey to the nearest star in just a few hundred years. It is not unthinkable. Who could have imagined when the Wright brothers first flew that we could have a reusable space shuttle in less than 80 years? Let's daydream about an historic event in the future, which has been briefly delayed.
Our satellite solar power station was hit by a meteorite this morning. The microwave transmitter was damaged. A repair craft has reached the station with technicians, and the transmitter is expected to be operational within a few hours. The Minister of Energy has conveyed her regret for the power cut due to this accident.
The delay is minor, and preparations continue for a momentous space mission. The Indian spaceport is about to launch the 1,000-ton spaceship Chandragupta, named for an ancient Indian emperor. The goal: to make the first direct contact with a civilization beyond Earth, a journey that will cover 100 trillion kilometers. The historic departure will be telecast live around the world. Beyond the spaceport, millions have assembled for a glimpse of the unique spacecraft as it sets out on the first ever voyage to an extraterrestrial civilization. Chandragupta's trip will take 600 years. The destination is the star Epsilon Eridani. from which radio telescopes around the world have been receiving intelligible and continuous radio signals. All the astronauts, 123 men and women, have entered the spaceship, and it has been sealed. The world bids farewell to a crew of heroes who dare to embark on a journey of no return. The present astronauts will spend all their lives in the spacecraft, as will their children and grandchildren, and so on. After centuries of travel and many generations, the mission will be completed by distant descendants of today's crew.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off! I hope all of you are comfortable. We had a fantastic launch, and we're about to see some fascinating sights. At our hyper-cruising speed, we are already approaching Venus. Breakfast will be served when we pass Jupiter. We are descending to give you a good view of a desert planet. According to our gauges, the surface temperature on Venus is 860 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to vaporize any liquid water and even to melt lead. The clouds are made of sulfuric acid. When it rains on Venus, the surface is so hot the droplets evaporate before hitting the ground. Ahead, the red planet Mars. It's also a desert planet, but Mars is not boiling hot like Venus. It's 70 degrees right now, but it will be 100 degrees below freezing tonight. You can see a popular resort filled with tourists from Earth on a Martian holiday. It may not be Barbados, but the view is unbeatable. We're feeling the gravitational pull of Jupiter now. As you can see out the windows, this giant planet is hidden beneath dense cloud layers composed mostly of ammonia and sulfur. The orange spot is a hurricane-like storm that has been raging for at least 300 years. The storm is so huge, 3 Earths could fit inside it. You'll be surprised as we fly by Saturn and its famous rings. From afar, the rings look like silky smooth, but up close, you can see they are actually layers of ice-covered rocks buried inside from tiny pebbles to huge boulders. Ahead, Titan, the moon of Saturn, larger than the planet Mercury. Its nitrogen-rich atmosphere leads scientists to speculate that there may be some form of life on Titan. Unfortunately, we won't pass the outer planets. From Titan, our route heads out of the solar system. We're entering interstellar space. If you look backwards, you'll see the retreating sun. The sun we've known and depended upon all our lives now looks no different from any other star.
In the hauntingly beautiful, immense void of interstellar space, days seem to fly by. Soon the crew is celebrating their first anniversary in space.
Radar shows a strange object directly in our path. No problem though. disc filled with sounds from Earth, everything from back and jump therein to bathing fingers. In case aliens intercepted Voyager, the hope was that music might serve as a universal language.
And the spaceship Chandragupta moves on and on and on. Years turn to decades and decades turn to centuries. New generations are born and they spend their entire lives in the spaceship, educated by their parents and in turn teaching their children about the aim of the mission and the nature of the universe. They are the first youngsters in history who are space born, space raised, and space educated. Imagine yourself as one of these children. You are in an astronomy class, and this is what you are learning.
It is interesting to note that the objects around us in the cosmos behave in some ways like human beings. They have their time of birth and hour of death. Some are lonely and some have companions. Some are small and some are giants. What is true of stars is also true of the galaxies made up of billions of stars. Galaxies come in all shapes and sizes. Like people, some even crash into one another. And like predators, some galaxies can swallow other galaxies in their neighborhood.
Oddly, though the people in the spaceship hail from Earth, they have never seen their own planet. They have never set foot on any planet. The spaceship is equipped with a powerful telescope, but the Earth is too small to see, and the Sun is just one of billions of stars. Finally, a long-awaited day is at hand. The centuries of monotonous existence in the spaceship have suddenly turned to excitement. It has begun with a discovery in the control room.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce that we have spotted a planet ahead near the star Epsilon Eridani. More importantly, we have received radio signals from it, and we are calibrating our telescope to get detailed images of the planet. It certainly appears that we are about to meet some form of intelligent life, as our ancestors dreamed.
How big do you think this planet is?
It seems to be a very small planet. From my preliminary calculations, it has only 1/10 the surface area of Earth.
With such low gravity, the beings there must be very thin and tall.
Oh, hold on. I calculated wrong. I divided when I should have multiplied. The surface gravity is actually 10 times stronger than on Earth.
Then we are about to meet very short and thick beings.
It looks like a very cold planet.
Maybe they'll be furry people or furry something.
Attention everyone, we are descending. Prepare to land.
This is the moment of truth. Will they greet us or attack us?
You will be happy to know that we are receiving welcoming signals. It turns out that their computers understand our language. They are actually inviting us to land. We have accepted the invitation. The dream of our ancestors is about to be fulfilled.
We are about to learn what extraterrestrials are bringing life. How will we communicate? Maybe the language of friendship is the same everywhere in the universe?
The sight of the stars make us dream. Is it fantasy or a vision of the future? Perhaps your own descendants will make this journey. and befriend beings from another corner of the universe.
गांजे को कुछ सपना होगा वो जो बंदा था ना साइड में के सपना देख रहा अरे नहीं स्क्रिप्ट ये छटाई है